And hello, good timers. Welcome to another segment of In the Kitchen with Andy. And for those of you that have been watching our Gatlinburg videos these past couple of weeks, you may recall Walter from the Frontiersman Adventure challenging me to make a keto 7-layer dip. That was after we ate at the Locco Burro, which has basically the most amazing 7-layer dip that I've ever had. Theirs is actually a 6-layer dip, but we're going to do 7 today simply because I'm that damn good. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do it keto style as best as possible, and we will show you the ingredients here in just a second. Alright guys, so if you learned math in high school, you can certainly see that there's a lot more than just 6 or 7 ingredients here for this. That's because we are going to do some homemade refried beans today. We're also going to shred our own cheese, and then we're going to use our own taco seasoning that we also made here, so we know there's no sugar or additives in it. And then of course you got the ground beef, and we got some whipping cream, and we also got some Mexican queso cheese here, which we're going to do a queso cheese sauce with as well. Because this 7-layer dip is going to be a bit unique, guys. A lot of you are probably used to having it at your barbecues or your bar mitzvahs, and it's usually cold. But this one is actually going to be warm today, because that's how we had it over at the Locco Burro, and that stuff, once again, was great. So we also got some garlic here, which we're going to add to some stuff. We got fresh salsa, because I was too lazy to make that. And we also got guacamole, because I didn't really care to make that today either. But we are going to make our own cheese sauce, at least, and our own taco seasoned beef. So let's get this thing started. All right, so first things first, guys, is we're going to turn on the burner here. That would be helpful. And then we're going to make our cheese sauce. Now, once again, this kind of cheese that we got here is a Mexican cojita cheese. Got a consistency almost of a feta cheese, but a lot more mild. Tastes almost like a mozzarella. So if you guys can find cojita cheese, that is, you know, some good Mexican stuff right there. So a little bit of whipping cream right here into the pan. And we'll get that heated up, and then we'll go ahead and add the cheese in here and get that melting. Alright guys, so now as you can see, this cheese sauce now has thinned right out, so all that cojita cheese is melted. That was probably about a pound of cojita cheese, by the way, and about a half a cup or so of heavy cream. So you want it to be nice and thick, and that cheese will thicken it right up. But the other thing we're going to do is we're going to actually add a couple of scoops of this sour cream right here to this. It's going to give it a nice tangy flavor to it. And of course, we're also going to save the rest of the sour cream for our topping on the 7-layer dip later. But we're going to put a couple of tablespoons, probably about 4 tablespoons in there, right to this sauce. So the other thing you can add to this sauce if you like is onions. You can add garlic. You can add cilantro. All of that good stuff. But we're going to keep it pretty simple right now, because it's going to be part of the dip. And there's going to be enough flavor when all these things get combined that we don't really need to add anything right now. So next step, guys, is making some refried beans, and we'll show you. Alright guys, so I know a lot of you are going to be like, hey, he can't put beans into a 7-layer dip because beans aren't keto. Well, that's kind of up for debate, alright? If you're doing dirty keto, you can have a little bit of beans. Just be aware there's quite a bit of carbs in it. A lot of the carbs are offset by fiber, of course, but in a traditional keto diet, you are correct, beans are not usually allowed. So if you guys are following the strict keto diet, you can take the beans out. Not a big deal. You're going to have the ground beef as your main ingredient in that 7-layer dip anyway. It'll just become a 6-layer dip. So not a big deal, but for today, I'm going to be throwing some beans in there just because I like the consistency of that in the 7-layer dip. So first thing we're going to do, though, is these come in a can. We're actually going to get rid of some of the starch in there to help cut the carbs a little bit. So we're going to rinse these, drain these, and then rinse them off again in some water. And then we're going to fry them up, and we'll show you how to make that refried beans. All right, guys, so I've got those beans drained now. Got all that strange goop that comes inside the can out of there. We're going to add some bacon fat to this pan. I've had it preheating here for a few minutes. And we're probably going to do about a tablespoon of the bacon fat here, guys. And we just cooked up some bacon a couple of days ago, so it's nice and fresh bacon fat. We're going to let that melt, and then we're going to add the onions that I have diced up already here to the bacon fat. Let those saute together. Then we're going to throw the beans in, a little bit of garlic, and probably a little bit of cumin, actually. And that'll be about the base of our refried beans. So we'll show you that here in just a second. And that's just about a probably tablespoon or so of onions there, guys. You can obviously add more if you like. But we're going to let these saute up here in the bacon fat before we add our beans to it. We're actually going to add the cumin right now. Now, if you add your seasonings, guys, while this is frying, it's actually going to bring out the essence of those seasonings even more. What we're looking for with that cumin, that's probably about a tablespoon, it's just the smokiness, because you really want those refried beans to have a nice smokiness to them. Also, if you like your refried beans with a little more spice, you can obviously add a little bit of hot sauce, or you can add some chili powder as well. Yeah, so we're going to saute these until they're basically translucent, and then we're going to add the beans and fry those up for a few minutes. Then we're going to mash it all together to make refried beans. Okay, so you can see these beans here boiling away, guys, frying away, we'll say. I got this over a medium heat right now, so you don't obviously want to burn the garlic or the onions or the beans here. But at this point, once they boil for about 15-20 minutes, they're already soft because they're in a can. So once they've boiled for about 15 to 20 minutes, you're going to want to mash them up. Ideally, you would want to use probably a mashed potato masher here for this. Of course, I'm on keto, so why would I have a mashed potato masher, right? I don't. So guess what? We're going to do the old-fashioned way. We're just going to squish them down like this, guys. Might take a little while, but still equally as effective. But yeah, if you have a potato masher, I certainly do suggest using that. Alright, so you can see we got our cheese sauce done over there, just kind of staying warm right now, and the refried beans as well. So that leaves us to the main star of the show, the ground beef, obviously, and the taco meat. So now this is a homemade taco seasoning we got here, and Simone makes this up ahead of time quite often for us. And it has got, I've got the famous Simone list right here. So it's got chili powder, garlic, onion powder, oregano, smoked paprika, cumin, and salt and pepper in it. So it's just as easy as that, guys, to make your own taco seasoning. Obviously, you can use the stuff in the little packet, but there's also cornstarch in that, and we're trying to stay away from that kind of stuff here, so it's all homemade seasonings for us. So we're going to get this frying up here in the cast iron pan, and we'll show you the end result. Alright, guys, so the hamburger is ground up. It's already ground up. It's browned up, though, and we've added our taco seasonings to it, and we added the entire batch of taco seasoning that we made up. Basically, it's the equivalent of one bag of those prepackaged stuff. Also, if you're using the prepackaged stuff, it's going to tell you to add some water to it. I'm not going to do that because, in my experience, water doesn't really have much flavor. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to add some salsa to it, and then we're going to simmer it with the salsa here for a good probably half an hour or so we can get some of those flavors of the salsa right in here with the ground beef. Then I think we might be ready to layer this stuff and get it into the oven. So we'll see you here in a few minutes. Alright, guys, so the cheese sauce, the refried beans, the hamburger are all done, so it's time to start assembling this. So what we're going to do today is we're going to actually only put 4 ingredients in there to start with, and we're going to leave the last 3 ingredients for the very end. So we're going to heat up the first 4 ingredients in the oven for about 20 minutes at 400. Then we're going to top it with some cold stuff, the sour cream, the guacamole, a little bit of cheddar cheese, and some olives on top. So heat it first, then top with some cold stuff. The cold, the hot mixing together is going to make for a fabulous dish. Okay, guys, time to top this now, and I think we're going to start off with, let's see, a layer of green, I guess. So, guacamole right on top of there. Spread it out as best we can. Now, I'm not really a huge fan of guacamole, but Simone likes it, and I guess it's blended in with this thing, and then I can handle it too, I suppose. But I'm going to use the whole entire container, because you know what? Guacamole is expensive. So I've been told, anyway. Alright, so get that all in there, and then we're going to spread that layer right on out. And it should spread pretty easily here, guys, because remember, this dip is hot right now. So it's probably just going to kind of melt right in there. Yeah, we still got a little bit more here in the container. Don't want to waste any of that nasty avocado stuff. Alright, so there's layer number 4, I think, if you're keeping track. If you're not keeping track, you should be, because I've lost track already. I'm going to rinse off this spoon, and then we're going to throw some sour cream on here. Alright, so into the sour cream. And I love sour cream, so we're probably going to put a little bit more of this on than we did the guacamole. Of course, not too much, because you may notice this pan's getting quite full now. Probably could have used a bigger pan, I guess. Alright. Sour cream doesn't seem to spread very well either. FYI. What?
Dollop.
Dollop? I'm trying to dollop. Instructions from the other room. She's going to come out here eventually and actually try this.
Yeah, when it cools off a little.
Yeah, it's still a little hot. It's a little full too. Hot and full. Alright. So that's that. And then we're going to do a little sprinkle of salsa on there. So just a little there. A little over here. Alright. Spread that around a little bit. Okay. And then for our last layer, guys, we're going to do a little bit of shredded cheese here. We also got shredded cheese that is melted into the dip down there. Remember, I shred this cheese myself, guys. Save yourself a little bit of money and a little bit of carbs, and just buy a whole block and shred it right up. And then we've got some black olives, and I've actually sprinkled a little bit of cilantro in here with these black olives, just to give it a little bit of freshness. Alright, so get those on there. And that is all there is to it, guys. That is the 7-layer dip. And it is barely being contained here by this pan right now, so we're going to let it cool for a few more minutes before we try it out. And Pickles will be here shortly to help us out with that. Alright. Alright, guys, so Simone's finally woken up at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and made her way into the kitchen because she smelled dinner. It's Sunday afternoon, it's fine to sleep until 5 o'clock.
Right. Okay.
That's right. Tamara and Gord from Vegas Best Ideas spend their entire day in the bedroom, and sometimes on Sundays. Yeah. Exactly. But they do wake up for tacos, and this is kind of like Taco Tuesday because it is 7-layer dip. But we are going to be using pork rinds here, guys, because, well, you know, nacho chips made out of corn, and corn, not keto. So, salt and pepper pork rinds it is. And we're going to let Simone give this the first try here. Let's see if I can get some of this out without spilling it entirely on the oven top. Oh, that looks good.
Does look good.
I don't know if I got the bottom layers here. Let me dig in more. Just to make sure you get a little bit of everything. Alright, there you go. Alright. Alright.
Okay.
So there we go, guys. Looks better in the pan than it does out of the pan, but...
It's prettier in the pan.
Yeah, it looks prettier in the pan, but we're going to give it a try anyway.
Scoop it all up.
Alright, and it is going to be hot.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I got any of the queso.
Well, there's a lot of queso in there, so you should have got some of it. Just saying.
There. All right, wait.
Okay, let's take number 2 here.
Yep.
Yep.
It's good.
Yep. Okay.
I would not say it's as good as the one
Well,
we had,
but...
of
course it's not as good as the Locco Burro, but It is okay, though.
It's very good.
All right, guys, there we go. We got a, not as good as the Locco Burro, but the good news is that probably a lot of you are never going to be at the Locco Burro, so you won't know the difference. But there you go. 7-layer dip, almost keto.
I feel like there's 50 layers in there from the looks of it.
And there is, yeah, it does look like there's a lot of layers. There might be 8. I don't know. I lost count. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this vlog. And hey, we'll see you in the next one. Make sure to tune into all of our Gatlinburg vlogs, and as well as the Frontiersman Adventure, his Gatlinburg vlogs as well. All right, guys, we'll catch you later. Bye.